Hey there. I wanted to give you a quick overview of our schoolroom before I show you some of the details of how we organize paperwork and curriculum and different kits and things like that. Now, it is nighttime and I don't have the best lighting for video in here, although it's certainly bright enough for us to do school, although we're not really doing school when it's nighttime. But the thing is, for this video, it's just not going to be quite as bright as if it were daytime. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about some different storage solutions. So some of these storage solutions are going to work for any place in your home, not just in your schoolroom. So I want to take you over here really quickly and show you this particular open bin. This is nice and sturdy. It's probably cardboard or chipboard or something quite durable on the inside. And then it also has this nice leather exterior. And it's open, which is one of my favorite types of storage containers. And it has a nice handle on both sides. I've put this in so it's deep this way rather than it being this way. That way I have a little more space to put something else. The only thing is it doesn't come with a place for a label, but you would be able to see what's inside anyway with some of these open bins, but I put a label because I'm like that. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you here are open storage containers, which are great for a variety of things, especially for toys, because you can just pull this whole bin out. It's easy to take the toys out and it's easy to put them back in. So that's one of my first tips, is that when you're organizing, you want to make sure that whatever you need to access, if it's something that you're accessing on a regular basis, you want to make it easy for yourself to get into it, and most importantly, you want to make it easy to put away, because if it's not easy to put away, then you're not going to put it away, and then all of that organization is going to go to waste. Okay, so let me take you inside these cabinets here. These are my schoolroom cabinets, and inside I have a variety of open bins. Now, these ones here are from Joann's, and I know that they sell them at other retailers as well. I saw them at TJ Maxx, and they're probably pretty popular, so you can probably find them anywhere. But they're not the best for anything heavy. So this is quite a large bin here, and I have books in here, workbooks that are really, really heavy. So this is actually not the best idea. This is kind of a temporary solution for me, because this bin was empty just about a month ago, and then I got a variety of hand-me-down workbooks, and I kept them here until I could figure out if I wanted to keep them and where I wanted to put them. Schoolroom, I don't just have storage solutions that are easy for me to maintain, but I also make sure to have a lot of empty space as well. And so if you look back here, this one is completely empty. And that means that, oh, and check this out, it's already starting to break. Okay. So as I was saying before, and that's a perfect example of it, these aren't going to be the most sturdy long term, especially for anything heavy, because this is made out of a metal frame, and then this fabric covering, which isn't a single piece of fabric, and I forgot what this is actually called. So anyway, I make sure to have a lot of empty storage in my schoolroom and anywhere else, because you need to have a little bit of flexibility so that your things can grow and so that it's easy for you to put things away. Okay, this bin right here. I do like these bins a lot. I got them from Target not too long ago. These are really great, but they're also not the most durable. And I got some of these for my kids' bedroom years ago, and the ones that were heavily used started to fall apart. But they're really pretty and they work for the space really well, and so I have them for things that are really lightweight. If you had it for something that was heavier or the kids were really banging around, it wouldn't last.
Okay, so as you can see, these bins do fall apart. We've had this for a while, and I did try a couple of different methods to glue it back together, but it just didn't work. So these don't hold up well to repeated use.
All right. This is like the perfect thing to store inside this container because it's really lightweight and it's really easy to take out and play with, and then it's super easy to put away. So this is a really nice set called Marble Works. It's from Discovery Toys. My kids like to play with this. It's not really suitable for really young kids because it has marbles in it. But this is a great bin for this because you need quite a large storage container for something like this because it takes up a lot of space, and it's a lot of like empty space actually. Okay. When you're buying storage containers, I recommend that you don't just buy one of whatever it is that you want to get. I recommend that you buy 4 at least or more. So I've got 3 on this shelf. So 1 with the workbooks, 1 way over there in the back with the Marble Works, and then that one I showed you was empty. So I've got 3 up there, and down here I have another 2, and I'll just pull those out real quick. And then the 2 in the back are actually similar, but they're a different color and they're totally empty. So let's pull these ones out. So this one has a variety of projects that you might use like as a science experiment, or just science kits that we purchased that we used and then we just kept the pieces in case we wanted to do it again. But honestly, it's really hard to use some of these kits twice, and sometimes it's just worth it just to salvage the pieces that you can definitely use, like this ruler, and then like break the kit apart and like say put these with the magnets and put these with the tools, and then just start from scratch, because sometimes you use up key pieces of a kit, then you can't use them again. Okay, so this basket or this bin works great for things that are going to be just tossed in, basically. So it's really easy for me to just grab one of these kits because it's already like in a plastic bag, and then it's really easy for me just to toss it back in and put it away. So that's the key, is that you want to make it easy to put away. So, all right, it's empty. And that's good because you want to make sure that you have some space to grow. So suppose it's September and you're getting all your new curriculum in. You want a place to put it until you can figure out where it's going to go in your schoolroom. Board games. I don't normally have my board games in a bin like this, but this one happens to work well for things that maybe we're not playing with right now, or maybe the boxes are so damaged that if I wouldn't be able to put them into a bookcase easily, maybe, you know, pieces would get lost or something. So it's nice to kind of have them all like in a bin like this. And some of these are quite small. They wouldn't work well in a bookcase. Let me show you the last basket in here. Okay. And this one is empty too. Okay, so now the things that are in the front here are going to be things that I access more regularly than the things that are all the way in the back over there. Now granted, right now those 2 bins are empty, and should they contain new curriculum, I would consider putting that up here in this basket and moving those heavier notebooks and workbooks to a different bin. And don't forget that that bin over there is also empty as well. Now, the school year has already begun, and the things that I purchased for this school year have already been absorbed in different areas of the schoolroom, and so I'm not going to have like new curriculum in this area. But had this been 4 months ago, this whole basket and this basket was filled with new material that we were going to use for the school year. Okay, up here, here's another open bin. My daughter plays with these little toys often, and it's really easy for her or any of us to put those toys away. It's easy for her to get them, and it's easy for her to put away. Now, the bin that's in the back here has some toys as well, but those are things that we don't play with regularly because it would be a hassle to get them out. We'd have to take this box of scratch paper and this bin that has toys. We'd have to take them both out in order to get to that little bin in the back. But that's why that one's in the back, and that's because that's one that my kids don't play with often. And if they did play with that more often than they played with the Legos over here, then we could just switch those two out until there came a time when they just had a different phase of playing with their toys. And that happens really frequently with my kids. They'll go through phases where they're really playing with one set of toys a lot, and then they kind of take a break from that, and then they play with another set of toys. Okay, all the way up here, we have more of those same kinds of bins. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these green bins so far, plus that small one right there. But then the ones that are in the back on the very bottom here are quite similar in style. And then I'm not going to pull everything out, but there's a big, huge red bin over there and then a little bit of a smaller file cabinet behind this one over here. And the thing is that those are things I only need once a year, and that's why they're all the way in the back. So, keeping it simple, it's open, it's easy to get to, it's easy to put away. And that's really important in our schoolroom so that we are not spending a lot of time fussing, putting things away, and so that whatever organizing system I've come up with can stay really successful. And so far, you know, mostly it has. Okay, so let's go up here. So this is the same kind of idea. It's an open bin. This one's fairly sturdy, but again, this is not something that my kids are going to be taking out frequently. This is going to house, it's called Tree Blocks Math, and it's in a different location right now, and I'll explain that. But this cardboard container is pretty durable, but it wouldn't hold up to my kids' daily use if it constantly had to be taken in and out. But then again, this is at least 4.5 feet off the ground. They're not going to be getting any of these things on a regular basis. If they were, then I'd move it to a location that was easier for them to get to. Now, both of these happen to be empty right now. Again, room to grow. And so right now, what used to be inside this bin is a piece of curriculum called Tree Blocks Math. And we're using it with our math unit. And so it's in, let me take you to a different location. It's in a place that my kid can access easily. He can then also put it away easily. And that's in this bin down here. Now this is again similar to the other ones, it's just a different color. And it's all in here. This is Tree Blocks Math. Let me just dump that out. Okay, so that's Tree Blocks Math. And that's something that we've been working on for this unit. And because it's just in a really convenient place, it's easy for him to pick up and put away. If it wasn't, he wouldn't put it away. And so then we wouldn't be able to walk around on the floor. There'd be so much stuff. Okay, so up here, I also have a few board games, and these are things that we either aren't using currently, like this medieval castle kit. We did our Middle Ages unit a couple years ago, and we're not due to do it again for a while, and so that's here because I don't need to get to that frequently. These things, if we ended up using these two games, which are great for any language arts curriculum, cooking up sentences and create a story, then I would pull those and put them over here. This is a 2x2 Expedit unit that I picked up from IKEA. I have multiple ones. I absolutely love the series, the Expedit and the Calyx. So we use them a lot in our schoolroom and elsewhere in the house. And so currently right now, since we're still doing our math unit, we have our math games in this cubby right here. But if I was doing a different unit, or if we were not playing those math games because we had played them so much for 6 weeks, we wanted to do something else, I could easily put a new set of games there and then move those back up here to a spot that we don't need to access very frequently. So another note on this, when we moved in, we had these cabinets put in. There was a wet bar in this place before. Okay, so this used to be like upper cabinets and then a counter and lower cabinets, and I thought full depth cabinets was a better choice for a schoolroom. And normally in a cabinet this size, you might only have one shelf, but our contractor gave us 2 shelves. And for a long time, I didn't need both of those shelves, which basically creates 3 levels, right, when you have 2 shelves. So for a long time, I just had just this one shelf right here. Now the things up here hold really heavy, cumbersome things that I rarely access, so it's just there for long-term storage. And I have some artwork at the very, very top. Kind of see it peeking out there. And so it's long and flat, and so to get any of those 2 boxes out, it's quite a hassle. And so I don't need to, I don't typically need to, and I would be less likely inclined to get those out because it's heavy. I need a chair to stand up there and get it down. I don't want to fall on my head and have to move all the artwork that's up there. But that's okay. I intended it that way. There's actually 2 of those file cap boxes. It's 2 deep basically. So there are 4 of those boxes up there. But up until about 6 months ago, I just had this shelf right here, and then all of this was kind of mishmashed in here, stacked on one another, and it wasn't very user-friendly. But by adding in this shelf right here, I was able to store a smaller amount of things so that when you need to get to create a story, you're only having to move 2 of these games to get to it, rather than having to figure out how to move a bin that's open. You can't stack open bins. They have to just be one on one level. And so by adding that extra shelf, I was able to make better use of that storage space. Okay, so more on open bins. Let me take you over here. Okay, so I've got open bins in this cabinet as well, and this is also a really deep cabinet, and so there are, well, let's see. Okay. So this is a really deep cabinet as well, and there are 2 sets of bins, one in the front and one in the back, and it fits really well into this space. So I've got 6 different units on these 2 shelves, different thematic units. I have one down here which is quite a large bin, and then I've got some more board games over here. Then if I take you all the way up to the top shelf, we have a printer that needs to be fixed right now, and then we have another bin in the back that has one more thematic unit, and then another bin that has some paper, and then this little unit in the front that has some paper. Okay, so open bins are really great. Now the ones that we're going to be using more frequently are here in the front, and the ones that we're using less frequently are in the back. But we're never using these things on a daily basis. This is more for storage. And what's really great about open bins is that it doesn't have to be as big as the bin itself. Most of these things are taller than the bin themselves. And if this particular bin had a lid, none of these lids could be on, or I'd have to find a different way to store these things and then put the lids on them. So lids are really great for containers. I don't have any in my schoolroom, but I do have them in other areas of the house for long-term storage, where you can put a lid on a bin and then put it up high and stack them up, or even down low and stack them up. So bins with lids are really great for stacking, but you have to think about that added step of removing the lid to get to what you need might be one step too many in you accessing that product inside and also putting it away. So I don't typically use bins with lids in areas where I'm going to need to access things quickly, easily, and often. Okay, but I do have some with lids. So let me take you up here and show you these photo boxes. Now I really like these photo boxes. They're in so many different rooms in my house. So I'm just going to pull one of these out to show you what's inside. Now, let me just also show you that this is, again, too deep. I'm sorry, the lighting is not going to be great here, but there's basically 16 boxes on this shelf, 8 in the front, and then there's a whole other row, 8 in the back. And this is why buying the same kind of storage container multiple times helps you get the maximum use out of your space. So if I had different shapes and different sizes, I would not be able to fit quite as many things in here. It's just a matter of geometry. Okay, so what's great about these lids are that they don't snap into place. So if I just have something small that needs to go into this felt box, I can just, with one hand, I was able to lift that up and get it in. Now, obviously, if you kept doing that year after year after year, it would cause some damage to the box. But for the most part, that's as easy as it is. Now, it says felt on the front. It's not felt on the inside. These are little tins. They're not quite from canned food, but they're from food. And I use a lot of these over here. And I just covered them with some watercolor paper and around the top edge here, in order to protect little fingers from potentially rough edges on a tin can, you can put electrical tape on that. And then they're great for storing all kinds of supplies. So this lovely little tin can is in this box right here that says felt. So clearly my labels need to be updated. Okay, so this one says bookmaking supplies, and I do know that these are bookmaking supplies. And so this bin doesn't have very many things in it, and that's the way I like most of my storage containers, to just have a few things in it so that it's easy to put things in, it's easy to take things out, and if I get more supplies that go with this bookmaking kit, then it'll be easy for me to put them in because there's enough room. So I try to have my storage containers have at least maybe 20% wiggle room so that I can add more things into it. Now, obviously, this doesn't always happen. All of these magazine folders up here are packed to the brim, but in principle, I would prefer that some of these are empty or have some wiggle room. Now, some of these really are empty and some of them are totally mislabeled. These are labels that I made some time ago, and I really need to go through and update them. Okay, so boxes with lids, great for storage because you can stack them, not great for frequent access. Okay, labels, you're gonna have to do labels on a box that's not see-through. If it's a plastic container that's see-through, then you can just do away with the label. But if you're going to have a covered box, then you definitely need to have. Okay, so more with open storage. So I really like this unit. It's from Home Goods. I picked it up several years ago. And what's really great about this is that it's super easy for my kids to retrieve whatever they need to work on, and really easy for them. Okay. It really is easy to put away. Okay, so all like their daily work and just things that they need to get to on a regular basis are in here. They also have their drawer for some things, but usually they don't put any of their daily work or any of their workbooks in their desk drawer. They usually keep that all over here. Okay, so now I'm going to take you to some other storage solutions. Okay, so in my schoolroom, there's a variety of storage solutions, and I use all of them, and for different reasons. And that's why, you know, one container isn't going to work for everybody, and one container isn't going to work for every storage need that you have in any one space. So one of my favorite storage units, or rather containers, are these magazine folders. And you can get these from IKEA, and you can even get some of the more durable ones from other retailers, like I think TJ Maxx or Home Goods has some of these. Now, the problem with going to a retailer like TJ Maxx or Home Goods is that you're never going to find a huge number of any one thing that's the same. That's usually been my problem. So I did find 2 of these, and actually I found these I think at Staples, but I only had 2 of them, whereas at IKEA, I was able to pick up a number of these because they have just tons of everything. So these are not as sturdy as these nice durable red ones that I got from Staples. Like these are just really sturdy, really durable. You can hold them like this, like you can pull them out like this, and you're not going to distort the shape of the magazine folder. Whereas if you pull these ones out, you'll distort the shape. Like I just creased that right now actually. So you'll distort the shape really easily. And so these are in particular not good for daily access. If you kept having to pull them out that way, you would damage them pretty quickly. And I did add a hole here so that you can pull them out this way, but I added it in the shape of a heart because I didn't have a circle. And if it were a circle, I probably would have like held up better over time, but at least there's still like a space for you to do that. But overall, these are magazine folders that I don't access every day. The ones that I need to access more frequently are the ones that are more durable. So this one actually says teacher, and this one says 2015-2016 because that's the school year that we're in now. So those are the 2 that I would use frequently, and they're the most durable out of all of them. These other ones I use for storage, for things that I'm not accessing on a regular basis. And so these ones, hold things that I would use for a particular unit, but that I'm not using right now. Okay, so I also have some of these boxes that I picked up from Michael's, and these are perfect for like schoolwork that's 8.5 by 11 and bigger. Now, because these ones over here, these photo boxes wouldn't hold paper that was that size, and so if you want to store any kind of documents, then these ones work really great. So the labels here don't match what's inside. This is actually for my daughter, my middle son, and my older son. And these ones have their personal belongings that they've accumulated over the school year, and then they can store them in there. And so that it's again for storage and not for daily use. This one on top is for daily use. And right now it has something that's for our geometry unit, but once we're done with this unit, these go back into our math thematic bin, and then something else can go here so that we can get to it easily because it's again an open bin, easy to put away, and plus it's sitting on the top here. It's not sitting on the bottom, which it couldn't because it's an open bin. So again, that makes it really easy to access. So easy to take out, and again, easy to put away. Okay, it doesn't have a label right there, but it certainly could have one that says current or something like that. Okay, more open bins. These ones I picked up from Pottery Barn many years ago, and I have 4 of them. Again, you want to buy multiples of whatever you're buying. It's just going to be the best way to organize in the long term. Keep your receipts in case you don't like it. You can always return them, but in the meantime, this is a great way to store books that you just want to see the front covers of. It's just kind of easy. Well, and you don't even have to store books in here. You can store small things, supplies, whatever it is. I just have some of these smaller books in here, but you could store anything. Again, it's an open bin. It's going to be easy to take things out of and easy to put things back into. Okay, so here are 2 photo boxes stacked. The one on the bottom has calligraphy things in, and we're not accessing that frequently, so it's here on the bottom. If I did have to pull this out and use it, I would first have to move this box, which is quite heavy now with all of our math unit stuff in there, and then pull this out. So it's not convenient, and so these are things that you're not going to access frequently. If they were, you'd put it at the top. Like on this side, I have envelopes here in this one, so more of like an office-y thing that's in my schoolroom, but this is something that I'm going to be accessing more frequently. It's here on top. But what I did over here with this photo box, this was empty when we started our math unit. I decided to take the lid and put it at the bottom, and instead put the things that we were using for our math unit that were small, that I needed to access frequently and regularly. Every day we're pulling something out of this bin. And so the fact that it's right behind my desk and it's open means it's really easy for me to get things out, and it's really easy for me to put things back in. Okay, except these Uno cards really should have had a rubber band around them, but otherwise it's really easy to put things back in. Okay, so I don't need to take this over to my thematic bin that's in my cabinet, because it's here, it's easy and it's here, and I did that on purpose. If it was in my cabinet, I would have to open the cabinet door and then put something in and then close the cabinet door. Here, I only have to put something in and out. So this only requires like 1 step or 0 steps to put away. Let's call it 1 step to put away. Whereas opening the cabinet and then putting something in requires actually 2 or 3 steps, right? Because then you have to close the cabinet. So I think about this frequently. How many steps is it going to take me to retrieve an item and put it away? And that then it has to be very quick and easy for the things that we're regularly putting away. Okay, so there's only a couple more storage solutions in this schoolroom that I want to talk about. One is just drawers. Drawers are really great, especially if you can put things in on a single level and nothing needs to be stacked. Sometimes you get drawers that are really deep and then you have to shuffle around and move things to get to it. This is super easy because everything I need is at my fingertips. I only need to open this one time to get everything that I need, okay? Whereas down here, and this is temporary because I have another math game in here for our math unit right now, but if I were to access anything in here, I'd have to shuffle and move things around before I got to what I needed. But thankfully, this is a cabinet, or a drawer rather, that has new supplies that I don't have to access frequently. This is more for storage, and that's why I stuck this fractions game on top, because it happened to fit here easily, and I wanted it again near where I was sitting so that it was easy for me to access and easy for me to put away. Okay, suppose your child has work that you want to store for him. Do not store it in a binder. If it's something that he has to, if it's something that he has to open up and undo these 3-ring binder clips and then put a piece of paper in, especially if the paper doesn't already have 3 holes in it, and first he has to put 3 holes into his paper and then put it into a binder. Your child will never keep the stuff organized if that's the case. I recommend instead having something that's open and easy, something that's about this size. And they sell something similar to this at Target and probably office supply stores for filing, so that it's easy, it's open, and you can just put your paper in. Now this is big enough for 8.5 by 11 paper. So the point is that if your child has something that he needs to file often, random pieces of paper, maybe from a notebook or a workbook, make it easy, make it open. Now, if you don't have access to something like this, you might consider doing one of these magazine folders. But again, this requires the act of pulling it out and then putting in your paper versus just putting in your paper. So again, count how many steps it takes to put something away, and then you can decide whether or not it's going to be functional and useful in your schoolroom. Okay, so I think I've gone over a number of storage containers and storage ideas and organizing ideas to help you get started in your homeschool room. And also, it's really important for me that you know that this is my 13th year homeschooling, and I might not have been this organized from the start, but I'll tell you that when the first year I was homeschooling, I had these magazine folders. They were just white. I hadn't put this beautiful cardstock on it, and it took about 7 years before I added this really cute little label holder. And another thing that I had right from the start were my open bins that had my thematic units, although 13 years ago we had different themes in them, but those are 2 storage things that I had right from the start. Over the years, I have gotten just more specific with my organization, and I've gotten more skilled at it. I've realized that things in binders need to be in binders and not be taken in and out of binders. I realized that If it's going to be too complicated, it's just not going to get done. And I always try to keep my organization as simple as possible so that I can keep things tidy and neat, and so that we don't spend so much time cleaning up, but more importantly, so that we don't have to spend so much time trying to find the things that we need. That is so frustrating when you know you have it, you just don't know where it is. Okay, guys, I really appreciate you watching for this long, and if you have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comment section below. I love hearing what you guys have to say. All right, thank you so much.